Hello everyone, it's Carol Garrison with Carol's Creative Escape. I am coming back and starting to produce videos again after taking a little over a month off this summer. Just took some time to spend with family, doing some hiking, a little bit of traveling and that kind of thing, and now kind of getting back into the fall swing of things and ready to start sharing card techniques with you once again. Appreciate your understanding when I took that time off, and hope that if you ever have the opportunity to do that, you do the same as well. Sometimes it's good to unplug. So the card I'm sharing with you today is actually a pretty basic card to make, but I chose this card for a couple of reasons. I have been in a bit of a slump, which is part of the reason I did take some time off. And by slump, I mean just simply trying to come up with creative ideas. And so when I hit that point, I will go out and see what others have done and take those cards and kind of add my own touch to make them mine. The card I'm showing you today was actually inspired by Joanne Pollock, who is a Stampin' Up demonstrator. And she's got some beautiful cards out there. And in fact, I almost, not quite, but sort of recreated her card just as my inspiration to get going and making cards again. The other reason I chose this card is I needed to make 15 thank you cards to bring into work. And this was a card that would allow me to do that in the time that I had available. So let me just start showing you what I've got here. This is similar to the original card that I found from Joanne. She actually had some flowers added here. The one thing that she did that I really liked was how she put ribbon on top of just a little piece of cardstock. I think you can see that. And I just thought that was kind of a creative way to pop your ribbon just a little bit. So this is the colors, the paper, everything that she did. I just made it a little bit simpler again for my needs. Now with this particular pattern paper, it happened to come in a couple of different colors. And so I created a set of 4 cards using the same layout with all of the papers that were available to me, not all of the papers, but with all of the colors that were available to me in that particular package of designer paper that I had. And so there are 4 cards. And then I wanted to create, I started looking at my paper and I was like, okay, I've got some more bright paper. So here's a couple more examples. I used a different thank you stamp, different die cut. But again, you can see that you just have to mix and match your paper and ribbons. One of my things is to use my stash. All of this is from my stash. My ribbon is from my stash, some older than others. A lot of the paper I was able to cut out of, with the exception of the card bases, I was able to cut out of my paper scraps. And so that is a bonus too. I also wanted to have some masculine cards using this layout because some of the thank yous will be going to male employees. And so I got my favorite little airplane paper out and again recreated the layout, just a different stamp, different die, different paper. And so it goes from masculine to, or feminine to masculine. And again, you could do any kind of sentiment on these based on the paper that you choose. I am doing thank you cards because that is what I need for my job right now. And that's why I was making cards today. So I am going to show you how to make this card now. And I'll start first by giving you measurements. This is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. This is a piece of cardstock that measures 3.5 by 4. This is 3.5 by 4 3/4. And then I've got a piece of designer series paper. This measures 3 1/4 by 4.5. And then for my ribbon, I have a piece that is 4 3/4 tall. And then I just made it 1/8 of an inch wider than the ribbon that I'm using. So in my case, this is a 3/8 inch wide ribbon. I've got a 1/2 inch wide piece of cardstock that I'm using. And then I just use some of my scraps of basic white paper, stamped a simple thank you, and I am ready to go. You could add embellishments, you could add die cuts, you could add, just a little bling. Because of how these are being used, I'm deliberately keeping it simple. So to start with, I am going to fold my card in half, and one of the things that I have learned is if I kind of line up this side and then drag my finger across, I can get a good crease right there in the center. And then I am going to take my bone folder and just slide it down, and then you don't always get too bad of an overhang when you do that. All right, the next thing I'm going to do, and I'm telling you, this card is really simple. But again, I like it because it's a very pretty card, but it was easy to mass produce today. And so now I'm just going to adhere my patterned paper to my cardstock. If you look at opposite corners and they match, then it's a pretty safe bet that the other opposite corners are going to match. And then again, I am going to add adhesive. I typically do a Z, and this one I'm just going to add 2 little blops there. I find that I don't need to do all 4 sides. And then I'm just going to center this like so. Just be careful that whatever pattern of your paper is as you're adding it, it's got something funky on it, to the front of your card, that you have it going the right direction. It would be a shame to have to take stuff off. I'm going to show you a little trick that I do for my ribbon. To start with, I've got, this is like a silicone mat or an oven protector. Stuff doesn't stick to it. You can use, I've got the silicone mat too. This just happened to be the first thing that I grabbed. Make sure that any fine paper pieces or cat hair are removed. And I'm just adding a little bit of adhesive to the back side, and then it's going to stick to this sheet of paper. And then I'm going to come in with my glue dots, and I'm going to add just a couple of glue dots to the front here. Like so. That's just going to help hold my ribbon down when I'm flipping it over back and forth, and it kind of keeps it from shifting too much on the paper. And so I'm just going to place my ribbon. Oh, this ribbon was one, when I got it, it was one of my favorite ribbons. I think I had it in 5 different colors. I still like it. All right, so I'm just adding it like that. It's not going to be perfect, but at least it's held in place. And then I've got the adhesive on the back. And so I can just fold this over, and it's going to be held down too. And then I will run my tape runner from the end clear down, and sometimes this happens. Not a big deal. We're just going to press it back down, and my workaround for that then is to start at that end. I do like to go to the very end of my paper when I'm doing that, so I just kind of have to catch it, and if I ran over a little bit, I'm just gonna fold it down. All right, and so here I am just going to adhere this to the front of my card. And then, like I said, I've just done a simple thank you. Again, it's the purpose of my card. I wanted them simple because I wanted to be able to recreate them and add just a sentiment inside. And then the last step, of course, is taking that, I always keep a bunch of these cut up, and I need to line all of those cards that I just showed you, putting a piece on the inside of the card so that a note can be written. This also adds a little bit of sturdiness to the card. And so I'm just going to open it up. And there we go. Ta-da, the card is done. So these are the 4 cards from this set. Again, this is all from the same package of paper. I just picked different patterns and kind of worked with it and made the 4 different cards. So I hope that you are inspired. If you are in a slump, maybe I can inspire you. I did actually reach out to Joanne and let her know that she had helped me kind of get over that slump. And I do appreciate her generosity in sharing some of her designs. So if you have a chance, be sure to go out and look at her blog site too. There you go. Thank you, thank you, thank you. 16 different cards made in very little time. Easy cut, easy prep. And I will be ready to bring them to work with me tomorrow so they can be distributed to some of our employees. Take care, everybody, and we will see you with the next video. Bye-bye.